What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content you watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the January 21st, 2023 edition of the SmackDown LowDown. Matt Camp, Jackie Redmond in the studio, recapping the biggest headlines from Friday's SmackDown, including the Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus Viking Raiders first-round match in the SmackDown Tag Team title #1 Contenders Tournament. Great match here, won by McIntyre and Sheamus backstage. Sheamus tells, I think it was Megan Morant. I'm pretty sure Megan Morant does a majority of the interviews now. We haven't seen Caleb Braxton on the show in a while. He said, listen, the Viking Raiders attacked us 2 weeks ago. They wanted to turn up the heat. That's exactly what we did. McIntyre says that he's nervous about next week. And Sheamus goes, oh, why are you nervous? And Drew jokes and goes, well, because next week it's going to be the battle of the Flying Big Men when we take on Hit Row's Top Dollar and Ashanti the Adonis. Now they're just incorporating it into the entire show, which I think is great. And then they give the whole banger after banger line and whatever, and that was about it. So back in the studio, Camp and Redmond recap the other tag team tourney matches before getting to the bracket a little bit later on. They also recap the Charlotte Flair Sonya Deville segment that saw Sonya lay out Charlotte, and that was it. It sucked. They recap the LA Knight Bray Wyatt segment where they went back and forth. LA Knight backstage tells Megan Morant that this does not affect his preparation for the pitch black match at all for the Royal Rumble. And that match is not going to end well for Wyatt. He vows to win. And it's his game. Whose game is it? It's LA Knight's game. Yeah. And they preview the pitch black match for the pay-per-view back in the studio. They also recap the Legado win over the Maximum Male Models, where they advanced to the next round of the tag team title tournament to crown new #1 contenders. Cruz del Toro says that this is only the beginning. Joaquin Wilde says that they will be recognized as SmackDown's new top team after this is over. Santos Escobar says they'll take care of business next week when they take on Imperium. Is it Imperium? I think it is. Yeah, because if McIntyre and Sheamus are facing Hit Row, then it is Imperium versus Legado. And then Zelina Vega also says that she will take care of business in the Women's Royal Rumble match because she has officially declared herself for said match. And then she gets into it with Emma, who comes into the interview, who interrupts the interview and says that she'll see Zelina in the Royal Rumble next Saturday. So Emma, unsurprisingly, also in the Women's Royal Rumble matchup. In the studio, they preview the rest of the tag team tournament bracket. So like I said, Sheamus and Drew against Hit Row next week, as well as Legado against Imperium. They recap the closing segment that saw Kevin Owens lay out the Bloodline and get the better of them. Matt Camp says that the cracks are starting to show in the Bloodline. We saw that with Sami and Owens and Roman with what we saw from them on SmackDown. So the cracks are showing, not the first time. Could be the last if Sami gets booted from the group imminently. Speaking of which, they also hype up, of all segments that are advertised for the 30th anniversary of Raw on Monday, they hyped up specifically the acknowledgement ceremony with the Bloodline. Now, the funny thing, and it's not exactly funny, but PW Insider reported earlier today, and I don't know if the report broke before or after this aired on Peacock, but PW Insider reported this afternoon that the Bloodline segment was off. And WWE themselves confirmed a little bit later on social media, it's no longer an acknowledgement ceremony featuring generations of all the NOI family, people, whatever. Instead, it's going to be a tribal chief for Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn is on trial with the Bloodline after what happened with him on SmackDown. So I guess the head shrinkers and fucking the Wild Samoans and Rikishi, whatever, they're not going to be there. If you had your hopes up for a Manu appearance, well, I'm sorry to say he's probably not going to be there. Maybe they show up anyway for this trial thing. I don't know. It doesn't sound like they will be though. But yeah, maybe something fell through and one of the members of the NOI family couldn't make it, or they just switched plans. Maybe this is where Sami finally gets booted from the group. I mean, now it's almost expected. They should really wait to do it for when it's not expected, like when they're all in good graces and then Roman just fucking blindsides Sami, just beats the fuck out of him. Not because I don't like Sami, but just because it's going to be a great segment. That's going to be tremendous television. Maybe they do it on the Big Raw on Monday, because that is such a huge show. Maybe they wait. Who knows? We'll find out on Monday night. And that was the SmackDown LowDown in a nutshell. So pretty straightforward stuff here. We got to hear from Legado, Sheamus, Drew, LA Knight. Not a bad day in the office when you get people like that on the show. So not bad stuff at all. But yeah, pretty straightforward edition here of the SmackDown LowDown. Thank you guys for checking out my review. I appreciate it. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. Enjoy Royal Rumble week coming up, folks, and I'll catch your ass down the road.